So I've continued building. I'm now up to page 167 on the instructions, which is where I start to put the roof together. Added the back doors, which love the fact that this one closes up. Got my lights in, moved the candlelight in a little bit further. I also discovered in the instructions that the reason the bed was 8 stones wide was because it was a full poster. But again, I didn't really like the design. They actually had these white wedges on the front of the bed. It just doesn't seem to fit with the rest of the colour theme. I left that out, but what I did do was add a little railing in because this edge was quite open. Now I'm going to start the roof, but I realised I had to move the whole thing over on my base plate because this opening here is for the extra little extension, which is 8 studs wide, and that's where the fireplace sits. I also discovered in my little leftovers that I have this light strip, which is actually colour changing, and I plugged it in, held it up where I think it'll go in the roof, and it just makes the whole building change colour: red, green, blue, oranges. I really quite like the effect, so can't wait to show you that once it's installed. Okay, quick suggestion. So I'm on page 199 and I'm building the cages for the skeletons, and for some reason Lego only gives you enough of these little open clip connectors to have 2 of the cage bottoms connected, and that's fine structurally, like it's not likely to fall apart, but it just means that the cage itself can be quite finicky. So you fold everything down, you pop your little skeleton in, you fold it in, then you connect it to the build, and these things just keep going in and out. I literally had to use tweezers to straighten them, whereas all Lego had to do was provide 12 additional of these little clips so that every rail on the cage could be connected to the base. So I finished the build, obviously, except for the surrounds. I'm happy with that. Lit up candle, a little side building, lights on around the front. I really like the liftable roof. You can see that's where the skeleton's hanging. So that'll give me access to be able to add in the ceiling light, the multicolored one that I was talking about earlier. And I thought, oh, you won't be able to see the fireplace, but it's going to bug me. So I'm going to see if I can get a light into the fireplace, which will shine light out, obviously, into the room. Okay, so I'm connecting the ceiling light. So I've got a multicolor board, one connecting wire that runs up. I've used the studs that are holding the 2 cages in place to just run that through, so you can see the wires loose. I've stuck it, because it has a sticky side, so I've peeled off the tape, to the underside of a 2x6 plate. Sticking with black so it's not obvious up in the roof. Normally you would stick these to a tile, but of course I want it to be inverted and hanging down. So it'll have to stay on that plate forever, I suppose, because I imagine trying to get it off might damage the board. But I'm happy with the way it's turned out. So I'll just tighten it up a little bit, and then I've got to pop that. It was a bit fussy before. There we go. Whoops. Pushed too hard. Pulled the roof apart. So you can see there that that's now secured, and unless you know it's there, it's not going to be obvious. You'll have the roof down sometimes, but I still need to hide the wires, so I'll do that next. But I'll just flick my big light off, turn on that, and you can see that it's going to cycle through a number of colours. So if I close the piece there, turn it around the side, you can see those colours actually shining through the whole build. Pretty happy with that. All that's left is the fireplace, and then to build around the edges. With the fireplace, I obviously have to work out this piece connects in. If I have a light secured to this piece, whenever I want to pull it off, I'm going to have to be very careful with the wires, So I have to think about that. That's next. I worked out how to light the fireplace in the little add-on building. I need the building to be able to just come on and off so that I can access this point here to slide the battery pack away. I was worried that if I actually connected a light to this piece, I mean, it would be a long light lead, I suppose, 30 centimeters, but I just found it easier to be able to just completely take that away. So it was a case of, how do I get lights into this fireplace but have the light connected to this base plate? So again, I was able to use a light strip. It's all hidden in there, and that enabled me to also have an extra port. So I've been able to add a light. I added a light to the book case. So it's a little green light. I didn't want it to shine too brightly, so I've actually turned the bookcase on its side, but you can see there, just in here, there's a green light coming out of there now. So that was an extra. I've got this bright light here, which if I slide my little extra building on, there we go. I've obviously got to deal with extra greenery around here, extra greenery around here, and I'm actually going to extend the extra little building out here so that, again, I leave this space empty. My battery pack will be able to go in under there. So this is all going to come out over, but when it's connected, get this open, and you can see a little fireplace lit up in there. So I've got all of my lights connected now. Now just to build the outside. All around here, the water, build the steps up to the front door, which are higher than the set obviously, and build the extra piece off of the takeaway building so that it covers up this big gap here, but it still gives me access to be able to put the battery pack away. Okay, still a lot to do. As you can see, lots of landscaping, not my favorite part, but I'll get it done before this video gets loaded. I've got my lights, front light, this detachable building comes off, as does this greenery. It's attached to the building, which gives me access to my battery pack. I'll just skip past the back. I've just finished covering the lights underneath the water wheel. So pretty happy with that. Got some water droplets on the wheel. Obviously need to do the landscaping because the stream is too straight. I want some texture there. And then inside I have the multicolored light. Changes shade as it goes. Green light in book. Candle. And then you can just see in the back corner down there, the fireplace is lit. So pretty happy with that. Just thought I would show how this piece detaches. So a little bit of gentle nudge, it slides out when it's cooperating. There we go. Oh, I forgot, I have to take the pumpkin off. There we go. So that whole piece comes off, which gives me access. You can see the light just there for the fireplace. Gives me access to the battery pack. Pop that off. There we go. So I'm finished with my Hocus Pocus. I need to put the little add-on and stage the figures, and I need to clean up. I've kind of got bits and pieces everywhere, so I'll do that and then I'll come back. So I'm officially finished my Hocus Pocus build, my modified version. I've, as I said, moved it onto a bigger base plate, so I've been able to add the front gates. I've put a little bit of water effect out on the side underneath the water wheel. I have installed lights. That's what most of this video has been about, obviously, how I installed the lights. I've made the little add-on on the side removable so that I can get to my battery pack. So thank you for coming on this journey with me. I've really appreciated you being patient. This has been fun. I've really enjoyed this. This has been a great build. I have thoroughly enjoyed this design. I think they did really, really well with it. I know I've changed a few things, but only so that I could get lights in and make the most of that effect. Other than that, I'm really happy with the design. Really impressed by it. So, got my little fireplace inside there. I'll obviously be doing another short which closes in a bit more. Really happy with the water effect. Didn't mention earlier, I'll just change that video, it's part of the design that as you turn the water wheel, the smokestacks coming up out of the chimney raise and lower. So I don't know if you can see that there. I've got Max and Alison, followed by Binks the cat, walking in the front. I changed the steps into the front door a bit because I've raised the whole thing on a Mills plate too deep rather than the single one depth from the design. But that's it. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed.